Hi everyone, welcome to my channel True Bites. Today let's try something sweet, a tasty blueberry bread pudding. It's a very simple recipe using very few ingredients and can be prepared in no time. Blueberries, as we all know, are considered as a superfood, low in calories and highly nutritious. So without much introduction, let's start making this super delicious blueberry bread pudding. This recipe serves 5 to 6, and for making this pudding you need blueberries 250 grams. You can use fresh or frozen, but if using frozen, please remember to bring them down to room temperature. And for bread, brioche bread is preferred, which is super soft and buttery bread, but you can substitute with croissants or sweet milk bread. You will need about 100 grams of the bread after trimming off the crust and cutting into pieces, roughly around 3 to 4 slices. You also need milk, 400 ml, 4 large eggs, castor sugar, which is super fine sugar, 2 to 3 tablespoons, and you also need white granulated sugar, about 2 to 3 tablespoons. So now let's start preparing the pudding. So at first preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 356 degrees Fahrenheit. So in this case I'm using brioche bread. So you will need about 4 slices, about 100 grams after trimming off the crust. So at first trim off the crust and then cut this bread into small pieces, like about 1 centimeters. See, if you do not get brioche bread, you can use croissants instead. Just cut them into small pieces, or you can use sweet milk bread. So now I have finished cutting the bread into pieces. So this is how it should look like. Now keep this aside. Now to a large bowl add 4 large eggs. Also add in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of castor sugar, which is super fine sugar, and whisk the eggs along with the sugar well and keep this aside. Now to a saucepan add 400 ml of full cream milk and keep a low to medium flame and bring the milk to a simmer. Do not boil the milk completely. You'll see tiny bubbles forming around the edges. That's when you know the milk is hot enough to use. Now switch off the flame and by whisking constantly add hot milk to the egg mixture in a thin steady stream. So do remember to whisk continuously. So now I have finished adding the milk to the egg mixture. Now to this let's add in the bread pieces along with 250 grams of blueberries and stir in very gently so that the blueberries and the bread pieces are completely immersed in the milk and egg mixture. And now let's keep this aside to soak for about 5 minutes. And now let's move on to the final stage of baking. So you can either use ramekins as shown, lightly grease them with butter, or you can use a deep baking dish somewhat like this. So use according to your preference. And now divide the mixture evenly among the ramekins or the dishes you are using. It's got a slight blue color from the blueberries and looks so appealing. So in this case I've used 2 ramekins and the remaining mixture I'm transferring to the baking dish as shown. So like I said earlier, this pudding easily serves 5 to 6 people. So now I have finished transferring the mixture to the baking dishes. Now let's sprinkle some granulated sugar on top of the pudding. Add the sugar generously. It gives a nice, caramelized texture on top of the pudding once baked. Now place the ramekins and the um, pudding dish in a large roasting baking pan and then pour boiling water to the pan to come halfway up the sides of the ramekins or the dishes. So be very careful when pouring the boiling water. Do not splash it onto the pudding. And now bake them in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 20 to 30 minutes or until the puddings are just set and slightly golden on top. Like I always say, the baking time depends on your oven, so do check after 20 minutes. And now the puddings are out of the oven after 35 minutes of baking time. See, they are slightly golden on the top and just set slightly jiggly. That's what we want, like how we bake the caramel custard and other desserts. So you can serve this pudding warm or chilled, along with ice cream, which is a perfect combination, or you can use whipped cream as well. So I'm going to have a bite of this and see how it tastes like. It's so delicious, not overly sweet, just the sweetness from the berries and the bread, and it's perfect when you serve this with ice cream or whipped cream. I definitely loved this pudding, and I'm hoping you too will love this tasty and delicious blueberry bread pudding. So please give it a try. You will definitely love it. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe, like and share. New videos are uploaded every Tuesday and Friday. Until then, goodbye.